good to see you tonight. You guys look good. Look at your friend next to you and say, you look good tonight. Look at your friend on the other side of you and go, nah. Well, we are excited to have you with us tonight. How many of you are loving having River Valley Youth in the main odd? Let me hear you tonight if you love it. You know, you guys cheered pretty loud there, but we have a lot of people that come together to make this happen. We have our sound, our media, our tech, our video people. We got our greeters. We got the leaders in the place. We got a lot of people making tonight happen. So I want you guys just to give a round of applause to appreciate everybody who spends hours and hours to make this night happen for you. And if you guys love River Valley Youth and you hear a message that you really like on iTunes, how many of you have iTunes on your computer, on your iPod, on your iPhone, anything, okay? If you have a Samsung Galaxy, we're praying for you. But if you have an iPhone, then you got iTunes. And we want you to go on iTunes and search River Valley YTH, and you can listen to all of our past messages or go on Vimeo. Somebody say Vimeo. Vimeo, not video, V-I-M-E-O. That was his name-o. All right, Vimeo, and type in River Valley Youth. You can watch our live recordings of Youth Nights. So make sure that you guys are checking those things out. We are in round 2 of our FOMO series. It's called Fear of Missing Out. And I am excited. How many of you have been loving this series so far? I love Fear of Missing Out. And we're believing that in 2016, you are not going to miss out on the best that God has for you. Now, I don't know if you're like me, 2015 was like a year of misses. And perhaps the 2 biggest misses happened in the last month. I remember I was laying in bed one night, and I was scrolling through social media like every good person does now with an iPhone. I was scrolling through social media, and I heard something about Miss Universe. I don't know, how many of you know what I'm talking about in this place? Talk about misses. Talk about awkward. Talk about watching this. Check it out.
Miss Universe 2015 is Colombia. I have to apologize. Miss Universe 2015 is Philippines.
How many of you guys saw that online, on TV, something like that? I didn't watch it. I'm a 36-year-old man, but I did see it on social media, and it was hilarious. And not only that, you thought, man, that was like the biggest miss that you'll ever see until the Vikings. How many of you? No, for real, like the Vikings. Just watch this. Just check it out. Just check it out.
McDermott is the snapper, and the kick is no good.
Just one more time, Jeff Locke, the holder, is going to try and put it down. Icker, and I'm telling you, psychologically, sometimes that can get a kicker.
Laces out, Dan. Laces out. Horrible. How many of you were Viking fans up until that moment? Raise your hand. Right? Crazy. Horrible. And I don't think we could synthesize the pain of the botched field goal kick, and the pain of the Miss Universe, other than just mashing them up into one awkward photo. Check this out right here. One awkward photo. I think that's the best way to synthesize just the awkwardness. Let's get that photo on the screen. There it is right there. The best way to synthesize the awkwardness. You know, both of those stories have one thing in common, is they were so close. Somebody say so close. They were so incredibly close to getting what they had hoped for in their lives. I'm serious. They were so close. They barely missed out. They barely missed out. It all came down right to one moment in their lives to whether they build a memory in their life or they just are left with a maybe in their life. Maybe if I would have done that. Maybe if I would have tried harder. Maybe if he would have turned the laces out, I would have kicked a field goal. Maybe. And this year, I don't want you to miss out in the same way because so many of you think you're so far away from God. So many of you think that you are so far from getting what God has for you that it's going to take you years to get there. And just like these 2 misses, you aren't years away, you are inches away from a maybe to a big memory in your life of God moving. And 2016 is that year that we do not want you to miss out on. You know, there have been so many decisions in my life that I look back on and I see how God has blessed me now, but I think, man, if I would have just made one small decision, not a bad decision, just a different decision, I'd be in a totally different place than I am today. Thank you, Jesus, for not letting me miss out. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing me here to River Valley Church. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing me to River Valley Youth and giving me one of the best youth groups in the country. How many of you feel the same in this place tonight?
Come on.
Don't miss out on God. Don't miss out on God, because this moment right now that you have in your life can either be a maybe moment, maybe I could have been something great in God, or it can be a memory of God doing something phenomenal in 2016. It's going to be an amazing year, and I don't have to hope. I know. And this is how I know. It's because God's going to make this the best year youth has ever seen, and we don't want you to miss out. There's 5 events, by the way, we don't want you to miss out on. If you are here, you need to be here every single week so that you don't miss out on 5 events. This Sunday, we are launching Everyone Nights. If you're going to be here, make some noise, okay? Everyone Nights here at River Valley Youth. And how many of you love camp? Can I hear you? Can I hear you tonight? Okay? You don't want to miss out on camp this year. We want you to have a fear of missing out on these things. Youth turns 2. River Valley Youth turns 2 this year, and I am so excited to celebrate that with you. We are taking 5 global trips this year that we don't want you to miss out on. We're going to inner city Chicago, babies. We're going to the hood, okay? El Salvador, Beijing, Ireland, and Cairo, Egypt. We don't want you to miss out on any of those. And of course, my favorite event that I don't want you to miss out on is NYC. Right? I love NYC. I became a Christian at NYC, and I know you guys have amazing moments. We do not want you to miss out. Now, there's so many times when we come to youth, listen up. There's so many times when we come to youth, and we experience God all on our own. And you know, I think that's awesome. I think when we come to youth and God moves in our lives and we hear the voice of Jesus, and we leave this place and we tell our parents and we tell our friends what God did, it's great. But you have to hear me. Listen to me as I say this. You weren't meant to experience this alone. You know what I'm saying? You weren't meant to experience this, the move of God, by yourself. So because we have those big 5 events, because we have a lot of things going on this year, because God is going to move in 2016, I have to ask you tonight, who are you bringing? Who are you bringing to River Valley Youth? Who is the one person on your mind that is not here tonight? And just like that, every single one of you thought of somebody. Who is that one person that God has been speaking to you to invite so they don't miss out? And I not only want to have a fear of missing out on everything God has for me, but I want to have a fear of missing out on everything that God has for my best friends in my life. Now, how many of you have been somewhere awesome for vacation? Raise your hand if you've been somewhere amazing for vacation. This last year, I had a chance to travel to a couple countries, but I had to go to these countries without my wife. Somebody say, okay. I had to go without my wife. And I love experiencing new things, and that's true. I love experiencing new things. I was able to, like, swim underneath a waterfall. That's sick, right? Who cares? I'm under a waterfall, yo. I'm under a waterfall. I got to go ahead and see these beautiful mountains. I had a chance just to be a part of pretty spectacular things. But at the end of each of those experiences, I found myself thinking one thing: I wish my wife was here. I really did. I wish my wife was with me because I want her to experience things. My wife is my best friend. Somebody say, oh, okay. She's my best friend. And even though I had an opportunity to experience something great in my life, it would have been better if I would have had somebody with me. And tonight, there's a lot of you in this place to where God is speaking to you, and God is doing good things in your life, and your friends are being left behind. God is doing great things in your life, and your family is being left behind because your faith is your own and you don't share it with them. So tonight again, I'm going to ask you that question: who are you bringing? Because I don't want you to miss out on the things that God has, but more than that, I don't want your friends, I don't want your family to miss out on anything. We want you guys to be able to show up, to run this race as Christians, and run it fast and run it with somebody else so that you both cross the finish line together. Now, when I was in junior high, I was in 7th grade, I had this friend, his name was Leon, and Leon was fast. He was in track and he was in fast. As a 7th grader, he was already on junior varsity. He was so fast. Leon, when he would run, he would cross the finish line first, go make a burrito, eat it before second place crossed the line. He was fast. Somebody say hustle, okay? He was fast. He was so fast that when he went to bed, he would turn off the switch, be in bed before the room went dark. Somebody say fast, okay? Leon was fast, and I remember in 10th grade, he's running this race. And this race had a lot of college scouts out. They were scouting him. They were looking to give him scholarships as a sophomore in high school. And usually Leon was about 4 lengths ahead of second place. He was always about 4 lengths ahead of second place. And in this race, everybody in the school packed the stands. Everybody did. They surrounded the track where there were no stands, there were people. You couldn't see beyond it. It's just a ring of people as Leon was about to run. Because we know in that moment, not only is a guy who's a record breaker for our school and our state and our region about to run and get scholarships to the best university in the United States, but he is also going to finish first. He's also going to cross that finish line. So Leon gets down, the gun goes off, and he starts running like Leon does, man. And the crazy thing about Leon is when he would run, he would keep his eyes straight in front of him. He would keep his eyes on the goal. And it didn't matter who screamed, it didn't matter who cheered, it didn't matter who yelled, Leon kept going until this day. You see, I was in the stands and I was cheering for my boy Leon. I was like, come on, Leon, run, man, run. Run, Forrest, let's go. And he was going. He's just running, right? It's like time slows down. Everybody else is like, and he's like, he's just running, okay? And so as he's going, I'm like, Leon. And this chick next to me said, somebody goes, oh no. This girl next to me says, hey, Leon, I want to give you my number. All right, ladies, if you want to take away a guy's concentration, just say you're going to give him your number, all right? So he's running, and the first time I've ever seen this, Leon looks over into the stands, and I'm looking behind him, and he's not 4 lengths or 5 lengths, he is 8 lengths ahead of second place. And second place is a senior in high school, and he's in 10th grade. And he looks up, and as he looks up, he does the gun. Guys, never do the gun to a girl, all right? Let's be honest. Okay, let's get it all of our system and do it at one time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, never do that again, all right? But he looks over, and he goes, and in the minute he did that, when he had his eyes straight ahead, the minute he looked over, he stepped out of his lane, and 10 feet from the finish line, he was disqualified. And he missed out on the biggest opportunity in his life, all because he didn't keep his eyes straight ahead. All because he didn't keep his eyes focused straight ahead. Here's the thing, if you don't want to miss out, you got to be looking straight ahead because you also have to know that there are other people there watching you run your race. Yeah. You say you're a Christian and that you go to youth, I guarantee you, even though they might not tell you that, even though they might not come up to you in school, they are watching you at school. Teachers, your family, your friends, your coworkers are watching you run your race. And if they see you run your race so well and in the moment of distraction get disqualified and miss out, it will keep some of them from coming to youth and it will keep some of them from coming to Jesus. Because in their head, they'll think, well, what makes them so good of a Christian? When they mess up, I don't need that. That's why you got to keep your eyes locked straight ahead and run. Just like Leon was surrounded by all of his friends and all of his family and the whole school, the Bible says in Hebrews 12, verse 1, it says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. Hear me when I say tonight, students, that this year counts. This year counts so much. Last week I told you this. This is what I said about this year, that what you do this year will affect your next 20. As I've been praying for River Valley Youth, Jesus said, what your students do at River Valley Youth, at Apple Valley, and at all of our campuses, what your students do will affect the next 20 years of their life. And if they run this race well, if they run this race looking straight ahead at the goal, looking straight ahead at Jesus, then they will cross the finish line, they'll bring everybody in the stands with them, and the next 20 years will be years of blessing and favor. But if they look to the right or to the left as they run their race, and if they find themselves disqualified in 2016, then they're going to spend the next 20 years trying to catch up. And it's not just for you guys, it's for all the church. I believe this with all my heart. And that's why I don't want you to miss out, because this will be a year of broken hearts and breakthroughs for hearts. It'll be a year of broken hearts and breakthroughs for hearts, to where you could run and you can make it 10 feet from the finish line. You could train, you could run, you can be consistent, but it could be in that one moment of distraction, one moment of looking to the left or to the right, that you say to yourself, it's going to be all right, I'll just kind of slow down, I'll let off the gas, I'll be distracted. That disqualifies you, and your heart will break. And everybody watching you run this race, their hearts will break too. This will be a year of broken hearts or breakthroughs for hearts. But if you run this race, and you run straight ahead, and you run as hard as you can, and you say, Jesus, I'm looking at you because you are the prize, you are the goal, then you're going to see breakthroughs not only for your life, but you're going to see breakthroughs in the hard relationships that you're going through, in your walk with God. You're going to see a breakthrough in your next steps. You're going to see breakthrough in healing for sickness. You're going to see your family saved. You're going to see your friends saved. You will see breakthrough in your life. If you believe it tonight and you want it tonight, let's give it up for Jesus in this place one time. Every single one of us is dreaming something good for ourselves this year. And if you've been praying like we've been telling you to at Ignite every Sunday night at 6 o'clock, where we go deeper in God, if you are praying and you're saying, Jesus, I want more of you, He has given you a dream to become something greater than you are today. I want to raise my hand and say, yes, this year, Jesus has given me a dream to be greater than what I am today. If you're like me, I want you to raise your hand, just as a signal, just as a sign to God and to everybody around you that God has given you a dream. Here's the thing about it. If it's worth dreaming in your life, it's worth doing. You got to understand this, and I want you to hear me, students, and I want you to hear me, leaders. Your dreams to God, He wouldn't give them to you unless they were made possible. You got to hear me. The dreams that you have for your life, for the best life that you could possibly have, in being the most effective for Jesus, bringing other people across the finish line and bringing them into heaven with you, those dreams that you have about being the person that God created you to be, they aren't dreams to God, they're realities. And all you have to do is keep running your race to step into them. They already exist. They're already waiting for you in 2016. And how you run your race this year, how you run your race will determine if you hit that goal and you hit that dream and you hit that reality head on, or at 10 feet away, are you going to be distracted and veer off and totally miss out on God's best for your life? You see, God is not going to give you a dream if you can't accomplish it. He would never let you see something and then tell you you can't do it. He will always give you something that you can see, so no matter how impossible that dream is in your mind, it's not impossible because you can picture it. It's not impossible because you can see it. So tonight, as you're running your race, I want you to hear me. Your dreams are not dreams, but they're realities. That your obedience, that you're running your race, helps you to step into. And I don't know about you, but it is unacceptable for me to run slow when I was created to run fast. It's unacceptable to me to let setbacks and distractions keep me from finishing my race. And to you, it needs to be the same. I remember back in 1992, when none of you existed yet. In 1992, I was watching the Olympics in Barcelona. And there was this track runner. His name was Derek Redmond, and he ran the 400 meter. And at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, he steps out in front of 65,000 people who crowded the stands just to see him run his race. 65,000 people who showed up for Derek Redmond. His life was filled with running races that led up to this moment. At age 7, he ran his first race. At age 19, he broke the world record for the 400 meter. And now at age 27, in the 1992 Olympics, he still held the world record. At the previous Olympics, 10 minutes before his race, he was forced to withdraw because of an injury. But this time, at the 1992 Olympics, when the gun sounds, he comes off the blocks, quickly breaks away from the pack, and seizes the lead. And as everyone from every country in the stands are on their feet, shouting and cheering for Derek Redmond, as he keeps the lead, about 250 meters from the finish line, his entire hamstring tears in half. And as his hamstring tears in half, the cheers turn to gasps in the crowd. You could see, as a camera panned the crowd, people were like this. Some people were crying into one another's shoulders because everybody had such high hopes for somebody who was crushing his previous record. He's forced to the ground in pain, and he realizes in that moment that his Olympic dreams are over. As the medics try to rush over and as they try to put him on the stretcher, he says, I'm not getting on that stretcher. I did not come this far to be carried out. I'm going to finish my race, and I'm going to walk out. And so with pain etched on his face and tears in his eyes, he began to slowly and painfully hobble down that track. Suddenly, as he's doing so and all cameras are locked on him, a large man begins to run down the stadium stands and jumps the barrier. The security runs up and says, "You can't, what are you doing? You can't come through." And he says, "That's my son. That's my son. And I will not allow him to finish this alone." And he breaks through the security, and he goes ahead, and he grabs his son, and nobody expected what would happen next. Check this out. Nobody crosses this finish line alone here at Youth. And nobody runs the, yeah, you can go ahead and clap. I know some of you want to. No one crosses this finish line alone. Nobody crosses the finish line alone at Youth tonight. And nobody crosses the finish line alone by themselves. You do not get to come here week after week by yourself and have the same experience in God and let your friends and your family miss out. You do not get to come here and see Jesus change your life and give you a calling and give you a purpose for your life and bring healing into your life and cross the finish line alone. Nobody crosses the finish line alone. As Derek Redmond was running and as he was going down the track, his father said, "You don't have to do this, son." And he said, "Yes, I do. I have to finish my race." And he said, "We're going to cross this finish line together." Right now, you have friends in this room that are hobbling down their track. And for many of you, the first thought that you had in your mind is good. Now I can be stronger than them. And that's the wrong thought. The second thought that might have gone through your mind is, I got my own race to run and I can't come back and I can't help them. I got to keep running. But for many of you, you're thinking a third thought. You're thinking of those people in your mind right now that you should be bringing to Youth on a Wednesday night. You are thinking of those people that desperately need Jesus. They need to be at everyone nights this Sunday night to see their lives radically changed. That's why at the door we're going to give you invite cards to hand to them, because no one crosses the finish line alone, especially at Youth. We are not just a youth group. We are not just a movement, but we are a family, and we do not let anybody run alone in this place. So as the worship team comes in, you have an opportunity. Because under your seats is a pen and a card, and I want you to pull it out right now. Tonight, we cross finish lines together, and we win together. Tonight, you win by both stepping up to Jesus every day and bringing people with you. When I was in high school, I remember coming to Jesus for the first time in my life. I need you to pick up the card and look at me. I came to Jesus. And I remember when I gave my life to Jesus at a youth convention, God said this to me. He said, "Who are you bringing? Because you can't do this alone. You can't experience this alone. You got to bring other people into this experience." So I created something in my life called My Top 5. And at the beginning of every single September and every single January, I'd write down my 5 friends that I had to see at Youth on Wednesday night. My 5 friends that had never been here before, and that if they die tonight, that they will not go to heaven, that they will go to hell. And I wrote their names down on those cards. Do you know a study has been done? And they say if you keep a prayer list of people that you want to bring to Jesus, you have increased their chances of coming to Jesus by 85%. If you simply write their names down and keep it with you every day. Whether you hang it on your bathroom mirror, whether you put it on your door, whether you put it on your bedpost. So every single day when you wake up and you go to bed, you pray and you say, "God, give me an opportunity so that I don't cross this finish line alone." In 2016, you can't miss out, But your friends can't miss out either. So as the worship team is coming in, we're going to sing that one verse. And as we go through a verse, I want you to pray and I want you to write down the names of 5 friends that need to be at youth on Wednesday night in 2016. And if one of them come, cross out their name and write down another name in its place. But always keep a list of 5 friends. As we sing the first verse of this song, I want you to quietly pray and write those names down as you're sitting in your seats. And in a moment, we're going to come up front, we're going to hold them up, and we're going to pray for those friends. Let's go. Here we go right now. Let's write down their names.